how we see aging, and how we realize it has an impact on every area of the economy, in every area of the society. It creates another area in the global economy. In fact, there are nowadays two different concepts. Here in Europe, you use more silver economy, which I don't like, and was the first concept developed globally. But people clearly realized that the word silver comes from the gray hair. And if you, in the definition of this concept, saying silver economy is focused on people over 50, we're saying that, for example, I am a senior people. So it's clearly not. And worse than that, put the focus on chronological age, which also does not work, because one of the consequences of living longer is that we don't feel as the age that we have chronologically. So it came this concept of longevity economy. What you are seeing here is not the original definition of the concept. We made here a few changes. Basically, the first one was focus on people over 40 instead of over 50. We did that because this decade between the 40s and the 50s is the decade where we realize that we are getting old, and is the decade when we change our perspective, or we adapt, or we are thinking about ourselves and how do we want to get old. So in terms of lifestyle, in terms of consumption, in terms of how do I see my career, the definitions and the changes are between 40 and 45, or 40 and 50 years old. So this is why we change and put over 40s. Another change we made on the concept was include the work side of the story. So not only look at people as a buyer or as a consumer, but also as a work people. The concept also includes all the public investment on aging and adapting the society for people over 40s. The original concept was developed by American Association of Retired People, and for our perspective, well, you can see because this, but in our perspective, this is the door for one of the most promising areas on global economy. Let me just show you that it was a prediction. This graphic, it was a prediction from ARP. It was made, as you can see, in 2016. But there is an update. It's not too different from now. There is an update on a report on last year. They made a new report on that. The numbers are not too different. Basically, the message here is to show you that if longevity economy was a country, or is a country, it will be the third biggest country in the world in terms of in economical terms. So it represents, in terms of US dollars, $7.6 trillion. These numbers these numbers do not include the impact of countries having a strategy for longevity economy. What do I mean by that? Some countries have already a strategy for this, like Japan, Ireland. Well, Ireland is a case study, a global case study. Ireland is the first age-friendly country, clearly recognized by the World Health Organization. But the countries that have already a strategy are Japan, Ireland, France, Japan, Ireland, France. Then you have Australia. Then you have some countries that do not have a strategy, but has this longevity economy very well developed, as Canada and USA. So our perspective, or my perspective, is these numbers will increase when you have more countries in the world with a clear strategy for longevity economy, because it will focus the economic strategy to that. So we will promote and push new offers, new solutions, products, and everything related not only to senior people, but related with 40 plus people. So this is the context. So let me tell you about a little bit about Aging 2.0 and how this started. Aging 2.0 started or appeared in 2011. It was created by Stephen Johnston. Stephen is expert on developing innovative environments that promote innovation. So he does that all around the world. And I don't know the beginning of the story, so I don't know why he came with the aging, but in 2011 he saw an opportunity to promote innovation around the world, focus on aging and technology. So the 3 steps that we work on are innovation, technology, and aging. Of course, at the beginning we were to focus on health, because as I'm going to show you, and it explains why we are Aging 2.0 or not aging or Aging 2.1. It has to do with this shift of perspective. So in the beginning, when people around the world start looking at this new demographic paradigm, they're looking at aging as a challenge, as something that could put countries can live it was faced as a risk for countries, not as an opportunity. It was clearly focused on healthcare and not too much on longevity and wellness and lifestyle. Completely focused on old people, senior people, and nowadays even the concept of age-friendly means friendly for people of every age. So of course, in some cases, you need to have, you need to develop things that be friendly for 65 people, because senior people have some ergonomic issues. But this is the shift of the perspective. So this is why we are Aging 2.0 and not aging or not Aging 2.1. So clearly we see it as an opportunity for the growth of the society, an opportunity for the growth of the economy. And this is why we are so focused on innovation, helping to rise an environment that promote the startups. And as you can see here, well, this is not our situation today, because yesterday there was more 5 or 6 new chapters. For example, in Brazil, you have one more in Brasilia. We have another one in Pakistan. We have another one. We didn't have in Rome. We have in Italy, but didn't have in Rome. Now we do have one chapter in Rome, so we are growing. And the good of this is we have, for example, every month, as I posted yesterday on LinkedIn and Facebook, we have every month a global meeting. So 2 meetings by, especially by zones of the globe, but you can be in both. So it's very good for you to have, not to be known, not only to be known by the other members of the network, but especially to share what you are doing, what you are looking for. So yesterday I had the opportunity to share with my colleagues 2 objectives that we want to promote here in Portugal. One of them, it will be a webinar to show some tech-based projects we are developing in other countries, especially designed for this moment of what we are living, so this COVID situation. So we want to have a webinar, all those with someone who wants to invest to bring the projects to Portugal, and for wants to look at these projects and see how can we develop something better here in Portugal. In my strategy, in my perspective, this is a way for us to push innovation with the tech base here in Portugal, clearly. This is the strategy. This is how I see my vision is we can develop here in Portugal something like a hub for innovation focus on longevity economy. So this is all, and the other initiative we want to promote is a marketing campaign to combat ageism, because with this COVID situation, we have seen around the world a lot of prejudice against older people. We are seeing here in Portugal, we have, for example, a liquor brand that came with a campaign that is very negative for old people. Some countries are thinking about leaving people, allowing people to get out of homes, but leaving the senior people behind just because they are seniors, and the focus, of course, is not on the age. The focus is on the health situation. Of course, you have older people are more critical, but it's not because they are old, because they are not so healthy as they were. So focus here again. This is the how we are around the world. This is our mission, and of course the community is bigger than that, but this is our mission. So one of the focus is growing as fast as possible. Of course, we want to have in the network people that are in any way relating with aging issues. We don't want to have people that are not in this mindset to belong to the network, but it's not difficult to find people with this. And the focus is clearly accelerate innovation. So basically, we support 6 types of innovation. We work with some corporations. These are our biggest partners / clients. We are a non-profit organization, and all of us are working here as a volunteer. So directly, you only finance your chapter by events, and I'll show you a little bit. We design and we found another. We designed a concept of another area of aging 2.0 that will be something like Gartner Group or Forrester Research. So I'll show you in a next slide or the other one. And this will be another way to finance the aging, because companies will pay a small amount to have access to that knowledge. So basically what we do is we help with our experts, we help corporations. We are now, for example, very focused on care providers and startups, because we see this as an opportunity to improve and push all the social side of the society, all the economical, the social economy, to push them to be more innovative, to be more tech-friendly. And we also have some policymakers, and we have some reports that help people in different countries to develop a better public policies to be more age-friendly. So this is our 6 types of area of innovations or innovators, areas that we work on. We look at longevity economy, and we look at aging in these grand challenge perspectives. So we're trying to make segmentation on focus. So you have, I don't go too deeper now on this, but Arnold later on will share, or I can share this PowerPoint with you. So basically, it's for you to see how we segment the projects and the knowledge. We have every year we have a global report. So the report from last year is already online, or if you want to access, just let me know. But it gave us a global perspective what we did, and it shows the projects that we found more innovative. Basically, is this. So we have this news in terms of communication, in terms of what we do. We have this coverage. It's a newsletter. Basically, you can go to the website and sign for the newsletter. Each chapter it's supposed that each chapter has then own newsletter. The Portuguese chapter has 3 months, so we don't have a newsletter yet, but it's something that we are working on. I have now another person working with me, Sylvia, so now there are 2 of us. It's easier to produce more content and have this new newsletter. Another thing that I want to share with you is for Europe, we have this we have someone from each country that belongs to the Aging 2.0 network, and the work we are doing is we are preparing a strategy to present not only to each country's government, but also to European Union. So we want to help, and we want to, share our contribution to have a more age-friendly Europe. And also in terms of Portugal and Spain, this month I start working with my colleagues in Spain. They have 4 chapters there. We start developing a strategy for Portugal and Spain, because some of potential clients or potential partners have this Iberic perspective, so we want to do that. And the collective is the area of our work that I mentioned. In our idea is to be in the future like a Gartner group, the same kind of content, and because as you saw, we have a lot of people on the network, so we have very good experts in almost every area related to aging. So we want to put this knowledge available for those who want to help us grow and to want to help to grow with us. So when you go to Aging 2.0 website, you will have this aging collective. What we want to do is to map innovation, to map projects, so you can see a reference of what people are doing in a special area in the globe. You can go there and search. It's a project that we developed with one of the companies that belongs to this network, is the Shapeable. They have a quite interesting technology. I'm not expert on technology, so I assume that they are not the only one, but they are the one who are developed this solution for us. So what you can find in this collective is basically who are doing what. You have access to a number of events we are promoting. Now, of course, our events goes to webinars. You can see who is doing what kind of problems we are looking at, and how are we solving these problems. And I'll give you an example. We are now like 99% focused on this COVID situation. So we developed this idea of promoting healthy and healthy homes, and help people to be hopeful. So what we are doing this is with these webinars focus on sharing projects is to inspire innovation. So the webinar we want to do here in Portugal is for that, to show what we are doing in other countries and inspire innovation here, to help the development of this innovation. So if you need someone, if you have an idea but you don't have all the technology, you don't have all the experts, we can be a source for this development. In terms of acceleration, one of the things that, for example, people in Italy are studying is, because time is crucial here in this COVID moment, time is crucial. We need to accelerate even more the innovation. So the guys in Italy, for example, are studying this. Yeah, what they show us yesterday was how can we accelerate the process to have the ideas transform in solutions in a more shorter way. And of course, to spread the innovation is what we are focused on. So you have going to aging2.0.com/COVID-19, you'll have access to this. In fact, these are links, so you have access to this content. And the idea is not only to share, but that people look at this as a source of knowledge, and that should be applied. One of the things that I want to do is, for example, working with Santa Casa de Misericordia and working with the Gulbenkian. So we are looking for partners. We also are looking for partners that want to present with us proposals for funds like Fundação AGAs or Altice Foundation, because I know they are looking at aging, and we want to go there and present them some solutions that they can be found and be implemented. So basically that's it, what I want to share with you. Sylvia is a Brazilian lady. She was very involved in the Brazilian community in São Paulo, but she's very active. And Sergio is the guy who runs Aging 2.0 in Brazil. He is responsible for the chapter in São Paulo, but we have, in each country, we have someone who is responsible for the country. So my strategy is also not only to have this better connection with Iberia, but also with Brazil. So this is why I invited Sylvia to come to work with us. So basically there are two of us. If anyone wants to join us and help us to grow the chapter here in Portugal, well, of course, I appreciate a lot, because there is a lot to do. So basically, I'll stop sharing my desktop, and okay, I think we can go to questions.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Anna. That was very interesting. I mean, if you don't mind, I'll start with one question. Is I know we had some discussions before already about the longevity economy, and you mentioned that in your presentation as well, that Ireland seems to be very much ahead in that sector. And I was wondering if you could tell us what Portugal could learn from what Ireland has done in the awareness and development of the longevity economy, and also on the slide that you showed with the world map with all the chapters. It struck me that in Asia, the number of chapters were quite low compared to the United States and Europe, where a big part of the how can I say, the senior population lives. So I was wondering why was that the case?
So let me start by the second one, because it's easier to answer. As you could see, you have a lot of chapters in USA. Stefan's strategy at the beginning was he thought that Aging 2.0 will be only an American network. So this is why you have a lot in USA. And the second thing he decided to do is to grow to Europe. The approach to Asia was later. So now, for example, the chapter in Pakistan, as I told you, it came yesterday. In Japan, we have, as far as I know, we have only one chapter. It also has, depends on how dynamic is the ambassador in each country. You know, if the ambassador is not too dynamic, you will have only that chapter. Of course, what we are looking for is for dynamic people, for people who want to connect. But for example, we don't have yet a chapter in Ireland. As strange as it can be, right. We don't have it. So we are looking for someone in Ireland who wants to be part of the network. So this is the answer for the second question. The first one is, in my perspective, Ireland. I don't know too much the Irish story, but what I can realize is the crisis you have on the potatoes crisis. What's the name of this?
Famine.
Yes.
The famine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. My perspective as a sociologist is that it shapes Irish perspective for the future. Like they decided we will no longer have a crisis like that. Of course, they had, I think, not with not a huge impact like that, but they have that crisis. And the way they look at and the way they design a strategy to get out of the crisis, they start looking at the demography. They were inspired by Australia. So Australia was, in terms of the world, the first country that looked at demography and start thinking about what could be the risk. So which areas we can face here a damage. And what they did is the Irish government, instead of designing a strategy only for those 4 or 5 years of election, they decided that they design a strategy that goes independent of the government. So I think it was 15 years ago or 12 years ago, they look at aging as an opportunity. So they decided, well, we will be the first global age-friendly country, and we will be leading innovation in this area. More or less the same kind of strategy that Japan did. Japan came later compared with Ireland, and what Japan did was, well, we have this potential risk. People getting old, a lot of people getting old. What we have as what are our strengths? Well, we are very tech. So they took these two components. They add the objectives for sustainable development, and okay, we will create a concept. So they came out with the Society 5.0. So they were inspired by Irish people. Ireland was the first country to have an association to promote aging. In the beginning, they have the economy and another area with the politics. Nowadays, they decided to put the two of them together. The reason why I'm also the president of Age Friendly Portugal, it was a suggestion from people from Age Friendly Ireland. The idea behind is to have an European confederation. I can share with you that Spain are doing the same. So I had a meeting with people in Spain last week, and they decided to do the same. So we are, one of the positive things from COVID is now people are talking too much. We are not, well, we lost the geographical barriers, so it's easy to share information and to share strategies. So in my perspective, for example, I tried to meet the Irish ambassador at the beginning of the year, and Aoife told me that he was in Ireland. And I realized that every year the Irish government put all the ministers, all the ambassadors together for a week of innovation. So I think it explains why Ireland is so ahead. Ireland will be the first healthy country in 2040. They have already the strategy design. They have a guide for that. So we are working here in Portugal to have a strategy for 2030. Well, Ireland is 2 decades ahead, because they designed the strategy the past decade. So I think it answers a little bit your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions?
I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit more about the startups and the tech companies and where you see the opportunities.
Well, what can I tell you? Basing a little bit on what I know is we have linked with well, in this network we have some funds that support research and support innovation. we have, for example, 2 very active ladies in Israel. One of them is responsible for one fund that are looking for projects on aging. In terms of startups, I can tell you exactly what we are doing because it is a lot. The better way for me to answer your question is, and we can talk after that, is to do the other way, is you to tell me what do you want, what you are looking for, and I can help you. We have in the network a place where we can put information. We can put some questions like I'm looking for this, and people come back to us and give us the information that we are looking for. So I can give you more information. If you be more precise, I can help you in a better way.
Okay, well, I suppose just to say, I don't work in any particular way with aging. I'm a construction project manager and building surveyor, and we also have a separate company that deals with renewables installations, primarily for commercial properties rather than residential. So we act as a consultant rather than a contractor. But I've been very interested in this whole aging question for quite a while, and actually it was a surprise to me to hear that Ireland is a world leader, because it's certainly not it's not something that's particularly promoted in Ireland or known about, and I think we'd maybe focus a lot on our failings, and same as every other country, the trolley crisis in the winter and so on, and I'm not sure there are solutions to housing the older population are well planned, because we seem to have people looked after at home by their family and support from outside, and then full nursing care, and we have very little in the way of intermediate, retirement villages. They just haven't worked in Ireland. A couple of people have tried to do them, they haven't worked, or even care homes as they have in the UK, where somebody can have all their care needs met but no nursing care. And I suppose I'm trying to see where there might be an opportunity for me to bring my industry, which would be property and construction, into the debate and helpfully look at it, because I think we've got, you may think that we're at the leading edge, but I think we're you know, we've massive problems to overcome with the speed of our aging population and our lack of stock that is suitable for housing an aging population. So that's really where my question arose from.
Let me share with you. Well, I understand your perspective. So I understand that you don't see it in a daily basis that you are an age-friendly country. Of course, World Health Organization have some topics. If you click that topics, you are an age-friendly country. Of course, you have a lot of changes, challenges ahead, but your industry is one of the most dynamic industries worldwide in this area. So clearly, you are seeing, you are having a good perspective. So there is, of course, a business opportunity for us, for you, especially with all this COVID situation. One of the areas we are promoting and one of the decisions we took yesterday is to promote a global debate on that, to promote a global debate on care homes. So we realize, and we don't need to go too far, we see it here in Portugal. We still need to have a social solution for those who cannot, and I won't discuss why, but those who cannot stay at home. But the home cares as they are built today, starting from the infrastructure, the care homes are, as they are built today, are clearly not the solution. You can't have so many people in, you can take a house and convert a house and have 4 or 5 beds per room. It's not possible. It's not possible. So we need to come out with a social solution, because this virus situation, as far as we can see, and the studies that different people and organizations are developing, it will be our, Luis, do you want to say anything? No. What is like this? So this is one of the things.
To ask a question when the time comes.
Okay. And another thing, for example, Joan Martin, she's the president of Covenant on Demographic Change. She's an Irish lady. And one of the things that, and if you want, I can put you in contact with her. Yeah. And one of the things, she was in Portugal in last December for a small conference. And one of the things she shared with us is, in your industry, people are looking for new solutions, how to build new homes. And one of the things that she mentioned, and I found it very interesting, is we are looking for solving the needs and the motivations for the senior people of today and the senior people of tomorrow. So there is a community, there is a network in Ireland of those who are in your industry and those who are more in aging area, who are debating and thinking and looking for new solutions. My business perspective is it will be one of the areas where you will have more business opportunity. You cannot have neighborhoods as we do. We cannot build the buildings as we are doing. Family structure are changing. We don't know exactly how this experience of being at home with the parents and the kids and everything, how it will change our, how do we live in our apartment house or wherever. Luis.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. It was a brilliant presentation. The thing is, as the population grows older and older over the time, we are taking advantage of the health improvements and health discoveries that allow us to stay alive longer. We are also seeing the countries that are raising the bar when it comes to retirement age too, because we are still productive and in shape. So 40 years ago, someone arriving at 55 years old, it was an old guy. Now it's in its premium, I believe. To think of things like that. But then again, this COVID thing also another thing. As you put it, the world is changing, and some ways of doing things also need to change. As the population, mainly in Europe, is growing older and older over the time, this also puts some challenge on the in the structure of society to supporting this. As I believe I will be still working and happily working when I arrive at when I 65 or 67, but I believe when I reach 70, I don't want to work anymore. I want to retire with some quality of life and so and so. But there are many people that will not have that possibilities, as you put it before. The nursing houses, they need to change. We need to rethink how things are done. But for this to happen, I believe we need to have a balance. It's not only supporting the old people. What are the countries and society at large, and all the organizations like Aging 2.0 thinking about how to support this, because it will be money will be needed. It will come from taxes only. There will be not enough population to pay all the taxes to support that. So what are the strategies to come back? Aging people understand this. Okay, when I'm old and I want to be when I'm retired and everything, I need also to have a society about society to support this, and this meaning more young people. So this also means supporting. It's a loop. It also means that to be a sustainable society that take care of their older people and consider that our people are useful to the society, you also need to have a lot more young people to be this in changing 2.0, aging 2.0.
Okay, Luis, you are touching one of the more complex areas. First of all, well, demography is the birth rate is something that give to this longevity context a dark tone. Why is that? Because you don't have generational renewal. So if we don't have babies, we don't have someone to work in 20 or 25 years ahead. One of the things that I'm observing in this COVID situation is something that do not came too much on the news, but is the number of young people who are dying exactly because of that. So the discussion we are having here is not only the age of retirement, or if we do need to have a retirement in the future, is something that globally people are discussing is, shall we raise the bar for retirement age to 70s, or shall we put this lower to have, for people to have more time to have a second life after labor? Of course, it is easier for some of us who are more on the services, who are more, who are not so physical. We don't have a very physical work like those who work in shops or things like that. So we don't have too much stress, physical stress and emotional stress. I know that not only here in Portugal, in Europe, but even globally, we are discussing the social welfare. How can we build a better society that of course needs to be able to fund those who are not having money and those who are retired. we don't have, I don't have a clear answer to you, because I doubt that anyone will have a clear answer to you. But what I can tell you is, if we promote more debate on longevity economy, as I defined, we are contributing to this discussion, and we are contributing to have a better of finding some solutions. One of the things we are focused on is in the social side of the longevity economy. So Aging 2.0 clearly has this care side as one of the areas we want to promote innovation, and most of them are tech-based. So, for example, London, the chapter in London is promoting a webinar. If you go to the London webpage in the Aging 2.0, you look for London, you go there, you can sign for the webinar. So yeah, they are promoting some webinars to show some solutions they came out. If you are interested in that, I can put you in contact with people who are touching this care area. You know, it's, in my perspective, this is the most complex area with this aging story. This is the most complex area, because the reality is so different in a country like Portugal. And we are not a very complex country. We are not a huge country. We don't have too much cultural diversity. Imagine those countries like Brazil, or countries like in USA, for example. You know, I know that I didn't exactly answer your question, but I don't have a clear answer
I
for
think
you.
the answer is very easy, Luis. You have two choices: or you pay more taxes, or you work longer. So
you can't just hire taxes. You can't do that. This is why we have the policy side in Aging 2.0 network. You can't do that. It's not sustainable.
of course,
you know.
And the question,
even
I know, you pay more taxes, or you live longer, or you don't live longer. It's just, or you work longer. Yeah. But my question goes behind that. I believe it's. I was just asking Anna if the question is on the table, because it's really complex. I don't.
Of course it is.
I just have a question. I believe everybody has this question, because we have another problem. The planet itself, it's reaching its limit, supporting us. So we are living longer, but we are not giving, just because we are living longer, we are not increasing the burden on the planet. But to support us to live longer, we need more people. It means more people. It will also increase the burden on the planet. So it's not just a question of we live longer, we work longer, pay more taxes, or not, or we have more people. I believe this is more complex than that, because we need to consider also the redistribution of population. There are many areas in the world that
you know what Ireland is doing?
Such a burden, yeah.
You know what Ireland is doing, for example? Ireland is looking for some of not very well populated areas, developing small cities, and develop cities that are, where are Louise and Fatima? Developing cities that are age-friendly in everything. So they are building home cares for people with dementia in these small cities. It's a new concept of dementia village. Now it's not a dementia city, but it's a city where everything is friendly for those who have dementia. So it depends on your level of autonomy. You can leave the place you are living or sleeping on, whatever. You can live this home care and walk around the neighborhood and even the city, because there are small cities. This is on the solutions they found to do that.
Can I
And
say something about that?
yeah, Pedro, just let me,
Could I just say I'm living in Ireland and that isn't happening? It might be being talked about, but it's definitely not happening.
I'll put you in contact with Joanne. Joanne will let you know where they are doing this. But the concept of Society 5.0 that Japan came out is the answer for your question. This is why they came out to this concept of aging 5.0. Pedro.
Yeah, I think that is the real challenge, the sustainability and to trying to get our cities and our way of life to be fit to this new phase of the human life, because we are getting older, of course, but we are also filling up the planet with people. And you don't leave any space for any other things. So we need to focus on that. The things that, as you, we are also a project management company in Portugal, and we are trying to find out the ways to work this, not only for older people, but like solutions of co-living and other solutions are being studied constantly in Portugal. And co-living for once, we already have projects for co-living, not only for students or for tourists, but also for people, older people. And the idea is to think the concept of co-living adapted to older people. And this is a big challenge. But we not only do that, we need to do this, and we need to think about sustainability, because our cities and our buildings have a huge impact on the planet. And we need to do every step we can to reduce this impact and our footprint. And it's a big challenge. One that China, for instance, is not helping. And so we need to think globally. It's not an answer that we can give. It's a fight. We need to start this fight immediately, because the planet won't get much more. And we are seeing the effects of this crisis. We are staying at home. And just this morning, I was seeing a news about it. And the planet is breathing again. So because people are staying at home, but we cannot stay home. We need to work, and we need to fight this with small actions, different actions, but we need to do it constantly. And so for us, Christina, it's a challenge, because you know the challenge that we have when we are working with constructions, when we are working with developers, and they put the budget on it, and we need to try to get it, but we also need to try to do something to promote the sustainability. So it's a huge task, but it's something that all the world needs to be focused. And this virus is just an example. It's the world fighting back, and we are too much here. So.
Yes, my perspective, and I would like to have a talk with you later on, Pedro. My perspective is the co-living might be one of the best solutions. Co-living or co-housing, independence of what you want to share in terms of your life to those who are living with you. But I know some, for example, I have a potential client we are discussing, and the solution he wants to build is a co-living solution. You know, my perspective, I know some projects like this in other parts of the world, and I found it a better solution than the home cares we have now. It's easy to implement. No, it's cheaper. I don't think so. But I think this is one of the solutions. You know,
the problem is not the cost; is how to pay it, as long as the sustainability of the economic sustainability of the project. Because the cost itself, if you have an investor that is willing to invest, you need to give them the outcome and the result. But it's not that easy.
Yeah.
Because you have to pay a lot. If this kind of solutions that we are talking about is like these senior homes, high-end senior homes that we are looking in Portugal, and there's not much people that can afford it. So the idea is to reduce this amount that needs to be paid monthly, to achieve something that can be supported by middle-class families. And the co-living that I was talking about, the idea is to reduce the area, but create an apartment building that is not a senior home, it's just an apartment building with smaller
You
apartments.
have, I don't know if you know Casas da Cidade from Grupo Luz Saúde.
Yeah.
It's more or less like that.
But that's
It's
not
not
what I'm talking
sold.
about. It's
It's
completely
not
different what I'm talking
sell.
about.
No, but it's like an apart hotel. You know the apart hotel concept.
Yeah.
It's more or less like this.
Yeah.
For
What I'm
me,
talking
it's a
about is
better
not like,
solution than, for example, José de Melo on Montepio.
yeah, that is not sustainable. That's what I'm talking about. Co-living, it's an idea of having people in smaller spaces and share common areas.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the
The
concept.
idea is that this can work for young people, high-tech people that needs just a place to live. But
Not
as we see
necessarily.
from this virus, this is another discussion. But what we are thinking about co-living is based on the fact that people don't stay too much at home. But in 3 months, everything changed. So this is another discussion that for a different webinar probably.
Yeah,
but
yes.
I've just posted a link there to. I've been looking at sustainability projects across Europe, and there's one there in Navarra that's a sustainable social housing project that's aimed at elderly, young people on low incomes. Might be worth looking at as an example. And that particular link there is quite good at looking at sustainable projects across Europe. I haven't seen any particularly related to this question, other than that one just caught my eye a few months ago, and I use it in a presentation I do about sustainability. But I think a few people have said this link between sustainability and solving this problem is critical, because if we don't solve the sustainability problem, there's no aging, because there won't be anybody here to age. You know, that is the reality, and we're looking at a pretty short time frame for that if we're being realistic and taking the science on it.
Yeah, Christina, if you are interested, Christina and all of you, as I can see from Pedro and Luis comments, my proposal for you is that we can start having a discussion on this subject, because I think it's crucial. It's one of the things that I personally want to do. Is one of the contributions. We on Aging 2.0 are already starting a consistent discussion on that. It will be a pleasure to have you on this discussion, because my goal here in Portugal is to promote this network to grow. So we want to build a community, and the thing is, how can we spare this debate? How can we bring people to table and talk about it? Because it will not only affect how we will live in the future. It not only affect the cities, but we need to have a solid question or solid knowledge to share with those, to the stakeholders who can make the real difference, those who can influence. I'm talking about political parties, for example. But it is also, and my perspective is in everything, has the economical side always on the table. So if we as active citizens, we need to have, and we should do something. This is why I'm on Aging 2.0. We also have here business opportunities. So we should understand what will be the future, to predict the future as much as possible. Fatima.
And just a small question about United Nations and the Agenda 2030. There is something involved about it?
Yes, it is.
Are you working with them to the sustainability of the aging process?
They are working on that. Directly, I'm not. I have on advisory board of 40 Plus Lab, I have two councils who are working with them. It is critical. Aging is critical. It's critical not only for United Nations, but it's critical for Europe. You have in this new strategy that are being designed, aging is one of the pillars. So, and if you talk with the ambassadors, like in Croatia, for example, aging is one of the pillars. If you go to United Kingdom, aging is one of the pillars. So clearly people are looking at that. I think Elder was raising hand.
I was, and first sorry because I had to step out for a few moments. Receptionist is not working here, so
Yeah.
I'm taking calls on the door. You mentioned before if someone wants to help, let me put it this way, financially and everything else, it's difficult these days, but we have two assets. We if we don't lose, it's wasted, which is competence and time. So if you need anything that you think, myself, or I think it's extended to everyone, that it doesn't take too much burden, I think we're all able to help you. So
yeah, I share my proposal for thinking, using this, and don't make this meeting die here. My proposal is, if you want, I share with you my email on the chat. If you send me an email, and we can share and see what we can,
sure.
how and what we can do, and I will involve you on these new initiatives we want to promote here in Portugal.
It's definitely a subject I want to be touched with. I'm actually an elder since I was born, as you might notice, and I've become more elder as the age goes. And one of the things that I'm worried about, and I think everyone else, I mean, this is a subject that we're talking about a large framework, governments and populations, but we have to think about ourselves as well. And we all want to get retired soon, as Luis said, but for that we need money, and that money, as much as we have, we can't calculate how much do you need. So you need equity. So on that framework, if we want to invest on this industry with two different aspects, one of them is maybe taking equity out of it because you need to get money in the future. The other one, maybe opportunities that gives you access to solutions. I mean, there was a few mentioned, like Group Pomelo and stuff. Those are not for people like me, for sure. I will not be able to afford in the future that luxury, but maybe something that I get involved now on co-working investments I do now, maybe to rent to those people and get it afterwards. Do you see anything on that side that we can start now also putting money into the market to help the industry and get return out of it, and maybe a good quality of life in the end? Because it doesn't only depend on age, we have to take care about our health as well. But let's imagine we get to 70, 80 in a good shape. We want to live a good life autonomous. We don't want to be dependent on other people or in a curfew like it happens with a lot of people these days, unfortunately. So on that side, would you have any suggestions, or is this forum also providing people opportunities to invest? And
I need to look for this on Aging 2.0. I have some thoughts about it. I can give you now a clear answer, but of course this is something that people are looking for. When I was saying to Pedro that co-living, for example, for me is in terms of real estate investments. For me, co-living is one of the solutions, not only because of how affordable it might be, but also because one of the things we don't mention here, as I remember. One of the things that we need to take into consideration is how people feel lonely and the isolation. So I know some 40 plus or 50 plus people, so young people that are looking for co-living solutions because say, okay, it's only me and my boyfriend or my girlfriend, or I don't have kids, or I don't want to have kids. So in the future, I don't want to live with my partner in an apartment. I want to build a community. In fact, it's something that you have around the world. You have a few examples in Brazil, for example. There are a few examples of that. People are building communities
And let me
quality.
just add something too, because in the elder is thinking about the group mail as a solution, as the only solution. But if you think about it, you probably don't want to live like that, because
Yeah,
you
I
don't
agree with you.
on a nursing home. You probably want to live your life with some difficulties because you're not young. You're getting older, of course. You have some more constraints, but you want to be able to live your life as you want. And being in a place like a nursery home, you are just committed to that, and you are just staying in there. So this is the ideas that we have. A co-living is a different solution. Is have a building that is prepared to receive older people with their constraints, but they still are living. They have their own life. They have their own agendas and their meetings and their families to come in. You have your life. The building itself is prepared to you be able to do everything that you want with your constraints. And it's cheaper because you are sharing social spaces, of course, and you are living on a community. That is the big change. So it's allow you to live normally as you have your own life on a position that you are on a nursery home, because
maybe group mail was not the best example. I'm not very aware of all the solutions. I've heard about a solution that is a kind of a condominium like the one I live, but where you have a resident doctor, we have all the services are there, but you still live autonomous as you were in your own apartment, just with the difference that you don't need to call 911 or 112 in this case, and you have a bit what you're saying, but it's not a co-living like an hippie style. It's a co-living where you feel like your apartment, or I mean, something that we are used these days, and not a nursery house or a lar, as we call it in Portugal.
Yeah, that's another concern. It's the level of the service that you need to have, because for some ages you don't need much services, but of course, as you're getting older, you will need more services and more support. And that is the problem of the senior homes, is that you have to have grades and levels of services to provide to these senior people. And so this is a challenge for me and Christina to solve, and even Susana Cabeceira, is that trying to understand how to adapt this idea to the buildings and how to provide these services, because as managed services you are putting on a building, more expensive it will be. So there is this balance that you need to find to have sustainable building that people can afford, and because we all want to live as easier as we can, but of course we have to provide services for these people. Medical services are normally, when you put medical services in a building, you have to make a big investment. So this is group mail, because they are putting medical services in a building and you have to pay it. And it's not only about the luxury, it's about to be able to access that service. And so this is the challenge for the buildings, how to provide this and how to be economical, sustainable.
Yeah.
One of the things that we work in 40 Plus Lab is exactly that, the kind of service we provide for people who want to invest in this area is giving this kind of advisory. Brett Schumann is one of the members of our advisory board, and he works on this, and he works also on the insurance area. And this is why we brought him to the company, because clearly this is one of the areas where, for me, there are two key areas in this aging story. One of them is the one who Luis mentioned, you know, everything related to be active, be able to manage your sales, how do you develop your career, and so on. So this is one side of the story, and another one is senior living concepts. You know, we need to, and our goal here in a company is help our clients and partners open the eyes and see another business solutions and other concepts for senior living, and also business solutions, because you can have different business models to not go for a business model like José de Melo, for example. You know, this is, even for them, this is not a sustainable solution.
I think we can find between all of us a co-living space for the future. Now we have plenty of us.
Anna,
yes.
as a urban sociologist, you mentioned all the things that I love. So if you need any help from that side, we are all open to help.
Yeah.
Course,
as I mentioned, I have two non-profit sites. One is the aging, and another is the Age Friendly Portugal Association. So clearly, I will be very happy to have you all working here, because we need to. This aging community here in Portugal are very well developed in social economy side, not too much developed in this ordinary economy side, and this is something that we should have that, because it will be good for us. It will be good for the future of the country that we want to live in, and as I always mention, there is money involved. You know, people are looking in these senior residences. People are looking for Portugal as the paradise. So like international groups are coming. I'm not too fan of this José de Mello concepts. I really don't think that this is a solution. It's not only me, you know.
It's a part of a solution, I think. Like Pedro said, co-living, it could be the answer. It could be the solution. But let's democratize it. Let's democracy.
The money. That's the project. That's the problem.
Let's make it sustainable.
Yes. When we are
the main key.
One of the things that I want to do is to promote a marketing campaign to change how people are looking for elder people. And one of the things that we should take in consideration, and I was looking for the COVID statistics on these days, and if you have so many senior people infected, it is because senior people
I think you lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she's gone. Okay. Oh no.
Well, I have to leave anyway now as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
It's
we.
early ending, but
Yeah. Unless she's probably trying to come back.
well, Arnold, I suggest that if she wants to share her email with us.
It's already on the chat. I've already sent her an email.
And I will share the presentation, the audio and video recording as usual, and I will put her email address as well. And then, you know, maybe we can do, you know, hopefully when we can meet again one-on-one later this year, we could do a workshop with her to continue the conversation. Oh, she's just calling me. Just a minute. Anna?
Oh, yes, my computer
just died.
To restart.
Okay.
So I'm getting in a meeting because, you know, check restart and that's it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm opening Zoom again.
Well, I think we'll leave it there, no? And I will. Yeah, we will leave it there, and I will share all the presentation. And I was saying that maybe when we can meet again one-on-one, we could do a workshop with you and the IPBN. And oh, here you go. You're back.
Yes.
Okay.
Arnold.
Yeah.
I need to leave, but would you be able also to share the links that Christine has sent? I have them at the moment, but I might lose them. In the mail you're gonna resume.
Yeah, okay. I'll and also the link from Christina.
Yeah, she sent 2 links which seem to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I wanted to say that actually, Christina, one of your guy is going to do a webinar. I think it's on the 30th of April, about a little bit what you discussed with Pedro and everybody, the sustainability and renewable energy. So that I encourage everybody to join for that webinar.
Yeah, it'll be focused on renewable energy and existing buildings. I think there's plenty of people can advise on new buildings, but it's the complexities and what can work for existing buildings, existing cities, etc.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be very interesting. So thank you again very much, Anna, and everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have all a great weekend, and
Yes, have
Thank
fun
you.
as possible.
Bye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye, thank you.
Bye. 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 Bye.